Hello everybody, my name is Keith Doyle, firefighter on Truck 9C, and today we'll talk about our early 90s Sutphens, which make up our reserve fleet of trucks. Our objective today is going to be removing a victim from the roofline and bringing him down to the ground, utilizing the aerial as a high point. Aerial high points can also be utilized for below grade, but today we'll be demonstrating from above grade. As a good reminder on the 92 to 94 Sutphens, we need to close our doors and clear the turntable from any gear that we would have stowed as we drive around town. The complement for using your early 90s aerial as a high point is very similar to that of the complement used on the 2010 Sutphen, with some exceptions. This complement has solely what you'll find on our light trucks. So for our anchors at the tip and at the pedestal, we'll be using webbing, blue at the pedestal and orange at the tip, rather than our anchor straps, and we'll be utilizing a collection plate. And we'll get to that here shortly. Walking through the setup on our early 90s Sutphens, the overall setup is very similar and the overall operation is nearly exactly the same. We'll start here at the Stokes again and we'll walk our way through the system discussing the differences and the similarities. Here we've connected our litter into the system, again with our bridle, want our victim riding with the head elevated. Here we've connected both our white and red lines into the bull ring. When we come up here, our change of direction pulleys, this is where we're going to find the first difference. It's similar in the fact that it's at the end of the aerial, before the bucket, but we don't have rings that hang off this aerial. So in order to achieve an anchor on this aerial, as you can see up here, we've wrapped the waterway with an orange piece of webbing, and we've also captured this poly block right here. What this poly block is going to do is help protect the webbing from hitting these hydraulic lines. So it's very important that once we wrap the big, large member of our waterway, we also include the poly block to the rear. It's very obvious. Wrap that, and that again will protect those hydraulic lines. This here is an overhand bend. When we tie that water knot or overhand bend, for simplicity, what we'll do is we'll take an orange piece of webbing, fold it over itself at the halfway point, and that you can go into the bucket and drape down over the waterway. At that point, you'll just tie your water knot with the two ends and the bend making your loop. Our ropes will come down to the pedestal where we'll collect them again for another change of direction. And at this point, we have a little bit different setup than we do on the 2010 Sutphen. On the early 90s Sutphens, we're gonna go around this large member here with a redundant loop and a piece of blue webbing. Redundant loop will keep our pulley close enough to our pedestal, but still also give us the advantage of running alongside the body of the fire truck, whether our anchors are in the front or the rear. At the end of our ropes, we have our MPDs put in place, which will be used as our lowering devices. As soon as we get the aerial in place, we're going to lower the litter onto the roof in order to put the victim on. And at that point, our aerial is going to be locked out, truck will be shut down, and we'll convert this into a mechanical advantage 3-to-1, which we already have laid out here, to haul the victim up above the parapet level. And then again, we'll transition it into a lowering system, taking out our mechanical advantage, utilizing our MPD as a lowering system. We have the same setup on the other side. So here we have our MPD put in place. This will be on the rear side of the truck. What's important when you split your systems like this is to make sure both your MPD operators have a clear line of sight so they can help maintain the same speed. One of the last things we'll need to put in place is the taglines to help control the litter as we elevate it, preventing any twisting. So now that we've rigged our early 90s Sutphen, from this point forward, the operation is going to be identical to the 2010 Sutphen. So now that we've rigged the aerial and we have our MPDs in place, our next operation is going to be raising the aerial just above the roof line and above the parapet to be able to put the litter on the roof. This operation does take some coordination between the two MPD operators, a person guiding the evolution, and the aerial operator. Other positions that will have to be filled is we'll have somebody tending the litter on the taglines, ensuring that it does not twist and we keep control of it, as well as having a member on the roof line to help guide the aerial as it comes over. If you notice, the placement of the aerial doesn't exceed very far over the roof, if over the roof at all, allowing us to load our victim into the litter. And when we raise the litter up with our mechanical advantage, that will then put our fall line going directly down the wall. With a little bit of help from our tagline, we'll avoid touching the wall at all, bringing our victim and our litter down safely. Something to take into consideration is the rescuers on the roof. If we need to move our litter to our victim and we choose to disconnect it, we need to be cognizant of disconnecting these lines. What will happen is the weight of the rope through the aerial will suck these up to these pulleys, putting them out of our reach. So a few options for putting our victim into the litter is A, disconnecting one side and loading them and reconnecting it. The weight of the litter will help keep these onto the ground. Or B, if we disconnect these, we need to anchor them down or assign somebody to tend these lines so they don't get sucked up to the tip of our aerial. We're now building 3-to-1 mechanical advantage. This mechanical advantage will be what's utilized to raise the litter the few feet off the roof and over the parapet. In a twin tension system, we'll be building this mechanical advantage on both the red and the white line. Now our mechanical advantage is put in place. We have a 3-to-1 built on both the red line and the white line, and we're going to haul up. It's important in a twin tension system, we haul at the same speed. So up on red, up on white. This is that time where both haul teams have a good line of sight of each other and can maintain the same speed. Stop on red, stop on white. Now the haul field in this case doesn't need to be anything extravagant, considering that we're only raising the litter up a few feet over the parapet. Because at this point, we're now going to transition our mechanical advantage back into a lowering system on both lines, the red and the white. So we'll take out our 3-to-1, going solely back to our MPDs. So now that our mechanical advantage has been removed, we're back onto our MPDs as our descent control devices, and we're going to lower the load, which is our victim in the litter, down to the ground safely. Our tender is in place with his hands on the tagline, and we've checked with all members to make sure everyone's ready for the operation. Red line ready, tagline ready, white line ready, white line's ready. So now we'll go down on red, down on white. Again, a twin tension system, we want to maintain the same speed on both lines. What our tagline's doing is keeping the litter away from the building, preventing any unnecessary contact. You notice our litter is riding with the head up high for patient care, an adjustment that we could make at the roof once we elevate the litter a foot to 2 feet.
Down.
Something to consider once again, once we get the litter on the ground, if we were to disconnect from the litter, our ropes once again will be sucked up to the tip of the aerial. So something just to be cognizant in as we remove the victim and get them ready for transport. Today we offered one method of how to build your mechanical advantage on the ground. Today we showed both line splits. Obviously, how you build your mechanical advantage on the ground will be completely incident driven. If you have any questions on these operations, please feel free to contact Captain Chuck Hawkins, Captain Ethan Martinez, or Captain Aaron Krieger at their respective fire stations. Thank you.